everyone. Happy World Fringe Day.
Whoa, happy World Fringe Day.
We've got Ottawa Fringe, Fundy Fringe, and Hollywood Fringe here, and we might get Toronto Fringe popping in, but they are, like you say, mid-festival at the moment, so they could be anywhere, doing anything, held up. So, Lucy, if you're not here, we forgive you. So why don't you start, Kevin? Why don't you start by telling us about Ottawa?
Yeah, so Ottawa Fringe, we just finished our 22nd Fringe Festival end of June. I've been involved for 21 of those 22 years. I missed the first year. But we're centrally located in downtown Ottawa, the nation's capital, which has its very scenic, and everything's very close. We have a very kind of nice, tight-knit festival. Even though we're downtown, it feels very intimate. We've got some new facilities this year, a brand new art gallery that have a rooftop patio for our bar and some extra venues. Yeah, so I mean, at Ottawa Fringe, primarily we focus, theater is sort of the big thing, like actual theater. There are obviously lottery, it could be anything, but the theater tends to be the sort of core of our Fringe. And a lot of our shows do go on to have sort of a life beyond the Fringe.
Amazing. How many shows have you got? Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, no, this year we had 57 shows over the 10 days. So we're sort of mid to small size, depending on your perspective.
Yeah.
We run 10 venues. Well, we run 6, and then we usually have about between 4 to 7 bring your own venues, depending on what spaces are available and where construction is happening.
Yeah, we've had Fringe festivals on here that have got 10, and we've had Fringe festivals on here that have got 3,500. So anything in between. Ben, why don't you tell us about the Hollywood Fringe?
Hi, everyone. My name is Ben. I represent the Hollywood Fringe Festival. We had our 9th year this year in Los Angeles. About 400 shows, just over 2,000 performances. It ended June 24th, so I'm just starting to get on the far side of the alcohol and caffeine detox that you can do at the end of the day. There was a couple times when I was on like my 7th show of the day, and it's like 12:30 in the morning, and I'm like, what are you gonna do? Is I get like a bunch of M&Ms and just do like the instant M&M like energy to get you through that. It normally I'm like a crazy health eater, right? But it's something about Fringe. You do what you gotta do to get to the end of it.
Yeah, it's like being in an airport where money doesn't exist when you're in an airport. It's like you're in a Fringe. Food is fine. You can just eat whatever you want and drink whatever you want. Fine, doesn't exist.
Yeah, absolutely. We had one of our venues opened up a new bar. Our Sacred Fools venue opened up a new bar, and I was talking with the owner of the bar, who's actually Patrick Duffy from television's Dallas. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Yeah, sure. It was awesome. Hung out with him on Father's Day, and like we had this whole conversation about alcohol and theater, and like how like there is like the spirit of like Dionysus is in it, and how the two go together so incredibly well. So yeah, it was a blast. We had a great time. It was a fantastic year. A lot of really exciting shows. Like it's a great position to be in when you're in my position, when you're just a huge fan of all these artists that are coming in, and you can go in and you can say like good work, but because you're the festival director, it carries more weight. So it's like the ultimate fan experience. Go and say, you were freaking awesome. When you're famous, could you please like mention our festival's name like on like some nightly news broadcast? But like it's just such a good time. Like where I'm in deep Fringe withdrawal mode right now and missing.
Oh, bless you. Sarah, can you tell us about your Fringe festival?
Sure. I'm Sarah. I run the Fundy Fringe Festival, which is in St. John, New Brunswick on the east coast of Canada. It's funny that Kevin says that Ottawa is a small Fringe with 57 shows, because that must make Fundy a very, very small Fringe, because we have 20 performing companies that join us every year, and we run for 5 days. We've been going we're going to go into our 6th festival this summer in August. And yeah, it's small but mighty. Small but mighty and aggressive. We have a big fighting spirit. East Coast fighting spirit.
You're in the micro fringe arena, although you're double the size of Shenandoah. So
yeah, well,
you're massive as well at the same time.
Yeah, well, and you know, where it's only our 6th year, our logic is, you know, start small and eventually it's going to build up and it's going to grow. Like, we're already talking about adding another day for next year. We're talking about expanding to include an outdoor spaces for this year. So it's going to happen bit by bit. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. It's going to have to be manageable growth for us.
Yeah, quite. Kevin, can you tell us why, how the Fringe has impacted your city? Is it a city or a town, Ottawa?
It's a city. It's a city. It's 1 million people, so it's not.
Didn't know it was so big, actually.
No. You know, for us, Ottawa Fringe has really sort of become the hub of sort of the theater, performing arts community here. We actually produce a second festival in February as well, which is a sort of a curated, smaller version of it. It's a little more sort of a standard professional theater festival. And so there's a lot of Fringe shows that sort of come through here that are looking kind of for the next steps to set up either for tours or to sort of flesh out the show. So we serve as a lot of development, and new works are a big thing here. Part of it is just the makeup of our current staff. That's sort of our background. But also it's just sort of there's a need here in Ottawa. Our regional theaters used to fill that role where they help develop work and sort of professional development for artists. That doesn't happen as much anymore. So Fringe in Ottawa kind of started to more and more fill that void. We also run a venue year round. So that gives us some space to work with, to run workshops, and again, to produce a second festival. I actually forgot what the original question was. I was just talking. I don't know if I answered it or not, but yes, that's sort of how it feels within the community. And we get about 15,000 people come to our festival, attend our shows, and I think some of the feedback we get from artists is our audiences are actually very smart. So if you are developing a new show, this is the audience you want to put it in front of, because they provide really intelligent feedback, really good, there's a really good dialogue between our artists and our audience as we're developing shows. So I think it's one of the strengths that Ottawa has.
Amazing. And Ben, you are in the, middle of kind of Hollywood city of dreams for actors and performers. How does a Fringe fit into that environment?
It's funny, when I was living in Iowa. I wasn't raised in Iowa. I was living in Iowa before I moved to Los Angeles. And for those of you not from the United States, Iowa is kind of like, imagine the farm capital of the country, right? And I was like looking at it, going to LA, and I'm like, I guess I'm gonna miss theater because there's no theater in LA. Yeah. It turned out, like I discovered this 12 years ago, there is a ton of theater in LA. There is when I arrived, there's approximately 800 companies actually practicing in Los Angeles. So it's like we came in, we saw all these amazing, small, beautiful French theaters, which were created, like 99-seat theaters, which were created because of union regulations. That's a long story. That were then in place in Los Angeles, and we were walking up and down Theater Row, which is basically where the Hollywood Fringe takes place, and we were just completely amazed and wondered, this is having been to Edinburgh and Fringes around the world. They're like, this is a perfect spot. This is like an amazing spot for a Fringe festival. So we started up, and we got this incredible amount of interest from the Los Angeles theater community. Because the thing about LA is that it's vast, right, and huge and sprawling, and there's theaters everywhere. But because of the geographical boundaries, separated by like gut-wrenching traffic, what ends up happening is that there wasn't that much sense of a community, right? Especially amongst small, emerging, intimate theater makers, performing artists. So what we do in the month of June during the Hollywood Fringe is we create that community. And I think that we get so many veterans coming back and back and back again and again and again, mainly because they miss that buzz of being around such a wonderful community, and it's so embracing. We say it's like the nicest community in Los Angeles, like the coolest bunches of people. We're not about like what the industry is about, with people like just going for the money and da-da-da. This is a chance for people to truly be creative and to do theater because they love theater and they want an opportunity to do it. So we're really proud of what we do, which is, of course, make wonderful entertainment, but also create this incredibly artist-friendly environment for people to come in and feel like they really have the support of the group and they really can take risks and they really can push the envelope and, you know, and other platitudes besides. So, yeah, that's what we do.
And Sarah, you kind of have the opposite, don't you, in Fundy, where it's, forgive me if I'm wrong, but it's much more rural. People are kind of more spread out and they travel further to see performance. Is that right?
Well, the city of St. John itself has a population of about 70,000 people. And for us, though, because New Brunswick itself is such a small province, and so we have really 3 major cities besides St. John. There's also Fredericton and Moncton. So it's kind of this tri-city area. And they're really only about an hour and a half's drive from each other. Right. And so what is happening is that while we are the Fringe Theater Festival in New Brunswick, we have a lot of artists that come to us from Fredericton, that come to us from Moncton, that come to us from those areas because it's such a close-knit little population. So, you know, it's one of those things that local for us is no longer just our little city. Local for us is now turning into our whole province, which is kind of cool because it's really unifying the arts in the province, which really, in my opinion, isn't something that we've had before. The cities have tended to work in isolation from each other in the past. They've tended to think of, you know, one thinks of itself as this kind of art scene, the other thinks of it as this kind of art scene, and St. John's sees itself as this other art scene. Yeah. And Fringe is really ripping that apart and bringing in all these artists from all these other regions, and they're finally interacting with each other, and they're finally connecting and having these conversations, and it's forming this really beautiful unity that never occurred before.
Yeah, so is it really kind of affecting the way that people take in performance and theatre and culture? Do you think that's changing people's the way that they do that?
I certainly hope so. I like to think it is. It's interesting, just within St. John itself. I mean, St. John is so industrial. It's a very, very industrial town, and a lot of people don't think of us as a cultural center because of the major industries that exist here. However, I put it all together the other day. I kind of pulled up a calendar, and I just wanted to see what August was going to look like for St. John with our festival. Yeah. And there is only one day in August in St. John where there is not some sort of arts or cultural festival or event happening.
Gosh, that's amazing.
So it's I think it's just that we're East Coasters, and so we tend to be very polite to ourselves. Yeah. We don't like to brag, but I think we need to start bragging and be really loud and vocal about it because it's quite the deal.
I want to welcome Lucy into the meeting. Hey Lucy! Here she is from Toronto Fringe. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Talking down there, right down the bottom there. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello. We're talking to you, Lucy. Can you hear us?
Sorry, my internet is so bad. Yes, I'm sorry I'm late. I'm just in the middle of a festival, so.
Yeah. We made your apologies at the beginning, saying that your festival is on right now, so we forgave you already. How are you coping?
It's bonkers. It's good, but you know, it's always the way where like the box office just stopped working for a second, so I had to go fix it. It's fine now.
Right. Gosh. So tell us about Toronto Fringe, which is happening right now this second.
It's happening right now, yeah. We're just over the halfway mark. It's our 30th year, so it's a big one this year. And yeah, so I've kind of gone, my motto this year has been like, go big or go home, which I'm having small regrets about. No, it's great. We've redesigned our outdoor hub, so we have this beautiful hub with our patio. Lots of entertainment happening there as a way to kind of bring people from across the city into Toronto. We have 157 shows of all kinds of theatre, dance, music. It's going great. Our ticket sales are ahead this year, and our bar sales are ahead, so that's exciting. It's going really well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well done. We've already spoken to a couple of artists who are performing with you. Yep, we're direct.
Great.
Yeah. We have Now, I know you've just joined, but we're not going to be here for much longer because we're going to wrap up any second. But before we do, I'd just like to hear from all of you about what you think Fringe does to support artists and performers, and as a kind of global movement, and from your own festivals as well. But Sarah, why don't you go ahead?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it does everything for them. It's that avenue where the person that never thought they'd be able to get their story told is finally getting their story told. We have a person in our lineup this year that, you know, she's this little old lady. She barely understands how to fill out the forms and things like that. And what is a tech writer and how does this all work? But I think that's even more critical that, you know, that the Fringe is providing that ability for her to have a voice. I think that's, for me, that's what it always has come down to, is having that opportunity for everybody to have their voice at the table, for everybody to be able to share the art that they want to create, you know, without any sort of limitations put upon them, and supporting them, allowing them to flourish.
Yes, Kevin, how do you feel about artists and Fringe?
I mean, for me, it's similar to what Sarah said, about sort of giving them the opportunity to tell their stories in sort of an open forum. And we had a woman this year who'd been in Bosnia and Afghanistan, had PTSD. She came to a Fringe show last year, literally didn't know what the Fringe was, came to a show, and she's like, oh, this is a thing I can do. Took some improv classes, sort of helped her with her PTSD a little bit, and then she told her story. And it was a beautiful story. I mean, it's a tough story, obviously, but she kind of used the storytelling as a way to kind of get through it. And then what I really like about the Fringe is you get that sort of first-time artist, and then you get these veterans. And Gerard Harris, who's an artist who's, you know, his ADHD is kind of one of his sort of thing that he's central to his storytelling. He came to see her show, and he's like, oh, I've got some tips as a performer to help you get through life. And even though, you know, they're obviously different situations, they were very applicable, and it made a world of difference to this woman. And a great show, very interesting story. I think, like, for a Fringe forum to exist, to happen, this is literally changing live, life, and it'll continue to change otherwise as she tells the story. And I really think, like, to me, that sums up what the Fringe can do. We do it to tell stories, and we're veterans, and rookies are kind of doing their thing together and can help each other along. So it's a pretty amazing story. That's kind of what Fringe does, and provides that for.
Certainly. Ben, what do you think about why Fringes support artists?
Yeah, sure. You see, I answered that question in my last answer, so I just blew it. So let me.
I was listening. Tell us again. All right.
Listen. So to me, it's like performing artists, theater artists, dance artists, etc. It's all about collaboration. It's not something you do in a vacuum. Like it's not like I'm alone in a room painting on a canvas. It's not like that. It's something you need to do. And what's more is that it takes practice to get good at, right? It's not something where, like, hey, I'm going to write a play and done, and it's great and it's brilliant and it's on Broadway and whatnot. It takes practice. It takes work. It takes collaboration. It takes knowing people, getting to know people, getting to work with people, and to do so in a, like, you know, frankly, a freedom to fail environment. Like, you take like a normal run in Los Angeles. If you want to do, you know, 6 to 8 weeks in a halfway decent theater, you know, you're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars. If you're doing a big musical, you might go over $100,000. It's going to be quite expensive. And if you fail, you're kind of screwed. And it's screwed in such a way that you're probably never going to do it again. Yeah, you'll get experience. Yeah, you'll probably learn a lot. But at the end of it, if you're not financially successful one way or the other as a producer, and let's face it, in Fringe, most artists are producers, then you could be ruined. You could never want to do it again, right? But you come to Fringe, and you had, like, God damn, I had this crazy idea, and I think it could be brilliant. It could be something that I think it could. It could also be a complete disaster. Yeah. But it doesn't. But, like, it's okay, which has happened.
It's okay.
But, you know,
it's okay, and you're so right that there needs to be a space for people to fail, as there needs to be a space for people to succeed and be successful, or just be a kind of lifestyle choice. You know, you're right. Fringe does provide that. It's yeah, definitely. How about you, Lucy?
I mean, I think I'm echoing a lot of what everybody else is saying about what Fringe can do for artists. I think for us, the accessibility of it is so important. The fact that it is affordable for an artist to do, and that it's affordable for our audience to go and see. I don't know if you guys can still hear me, because
Yes. Yes.
Although she's frozen, just frozen.
Sorry, my internet is so bad.
That's all right.
Yeah, I keep freezing. It's my internet. But yeah, I think it's about the accessibility. I think it's about how they can pay a really nominal fee to be part of the festival. And because it's so accessible to our audience, it means they actually get an audience, because people are going because they can spend $13 on a ticket and see something incredible or terrible, but either way they're not wasting their money, you know. So I think that's a really big part of it, that we have an audience built in for them, because people understand what Fringe is now, what the movement is, and what that can afford you. So, you know, we have people buying. This year we were like, let's do a 30 show pass. Is that too many shows? And people are buying them. People are by themselves going to see those kind of numbers. Yeah, and so
that's great. Going to
it's been really great.
That's the dream, isn't it? To get, I think, like a competition. Can you do it? Yeah, can you do it? I think
exactly. Yeah.
You know, one of the missions is to get people out more than once, and that's why you have festivals, and that's why you have such intense performance periods, so you can get people just to get on that Fringe roll.
Exactly.
I'm going to say farewell to you lovely 4 North American Fringe festivals. You've been wonderful, and happy World Fringe Day to you all. And we'll see you on the other side. Good luck with the rest of your festival, Lucy, and good luck with all of your others, wherever you are in your Fringe calendar. So it's been lovely speaking to you. Fringe fully yours.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys.